We live and act on three planes of existence. Sensations, actions, and events occur in the physical plane. We can call it physical thinking. Apart from them, we are aware of and act simultaneously in a life, social, or vital plane. In this vital or life plane, we perceive, relate, interact, and react nervously and emotionally with our environment and with other people. It is emotional, social, or vital thinking. We also exist in a mental plane of facts, thoughts, opinions, and ideas. In this mental plane, we observe, conceive, understand, create, and decide. Let us call it pure mental thinking. The primitive man was physical. He acquired knowledge about physical objects, physical actions, and physical facts. His world was a physical world. His mind was physical. Then came the social man. His experience in the form of relationship with fellow men through sensations, impulses, feelings, and emotions helped him acquire the knowledge of emotions. His world was a social, emotional world. His mind was social or vital. Later, the mental man found the mental elements within. He used those mental elements and faculties such as memory, thoughts, ideas, and employed them to develop all modern thoughts and sciences, including philosophy, physical sciences, and social sciences. Man's present world is a mental world. If we take these three phases and look at them as a whole, there appears to be a great ascent of mind. The ascent of mind occurs simultaneously in all these three planes. As civilization transits through different phases of development, it also undergoes shifts in the relative emphasis it places on each of these planes. For example, the Greeks created pure mental ideas. The Romans organized social life. The modern man is excelling in physical sciences. Man has started from the physical and ascended to pure mentality over tens of thousands of years, or maybe millions of years. No one knows the exact number of years. We can only speculate about it. But we have written records and historical evidence about what has happened in the last few thousand years. This evidence shows man has been reversing the direction of the movement of mind and directing all his higher mental powers back on the physical life. A study of the recent three phases suggests that there has been a descent of mind. A few thousand years ago, at pure mental plane, Indians organized their thought and life around spiritual truths. The Greeks centered on the mind and its conceptual ideas. They focused on the application of mind to ideas. Then came Romans. At social or life plane, the Romans organized life and many areas of human life, such as law, military, and governance. Rome focused on the organizing power of mind in society. The modern period began with intensive concentration of the powers of mind on the physical world. The power of the analytic mind turned its attention to the physical world of nature. It gave rise to methods of inquiry that replaced the authority of religious doctrine with validation by physical observations. Does the modern man examine significant developments in relation to all three planes, and the interaction between them. The perspective of history of mind reveals larger movements and longer cycles that vary from age to age, civilization to civilization. We may be approaching the end of one of those cycles and need to prepare for a more significant reframing of the basis for knowledge and civilization for the future. The modern society is preoccupied with the application of mind to the physical world and society by means of technology. Humanity's understanding of its place in the universe, of our relationship with one another, of our own psychological processes and capacities for knowledge, we continuously improving. But almost all the mental resources of our modern world are employed in exploring and finding out the truth about the physical world. Is there a reason to assume that the current functioning of mind has exhausted all its faculties and potentials so that the man has to go back to the physical world? Today, humanity confronts many existential challenges. Do the problems we face correspond to the limitations in the ways we are employing our mental faculties? Given the extraordinary developments that have taken place in the past, it seems equally reasonable to assume that we have not yet exhausted the limits of human consciousness, individually or collectively. We are talking about mind, its powers and achievements. It would be great to have some understanding about the phenomenon genius. Gary said in 1860, there was only one PhD, and he was considered a genius. The world has benefited by the contribution of many geniuses. Some educators today say that it is possible to maximize intellectual potential of a man if he is given training from the childhood. They say it is possible to make a baby read or do math or give encyclopedia knowledge. Some others even believe that any man can be transformed into a genius. On the other hand, I have been taught that geniuses are born and they are not made. I'm not an educator. I'm not a scientist. I do not know whether the status of being genius comes by birth or is an acquired capacity. I would like to know whether someone can be transformed, changed into a genius through conscious efforts. Is it really possible? We see changes and transformations at physical, emotional, and mental levels. For example, a man with a weak body becomes a very strong man through regular physical exercises. A man with behavioral disorders becomes a well-behaved gentleman through emotional discipline. A dull student becomes bright through hard work. The change is made possible through an appropriate process. These changes are within the reach of most men. But can we say the same about becoming a genius? If there is a process of transforming a man into a genius, then the world may be able to create many geniuses through that process, as the world creates medical doctors and software engineers through some educational training processes. Does such a process of creation of genius already exist? If there is already a process, or if such a process can be developed, what should be done to make the world accept it? Individuality and genius are closely related ideas. I believe a genius has individuality. The person with an individuality may or may not be a genius. When we talk about creating lawyers, medical doctors, or engineers, we have well-defined standardized training processes, methods, and systems. When a student enrolled in a professional school completes the rigorous training and completes the evaluation process successfully, we have no hesitation in certifying him as a professional and seek his help and advice when there is a need. But the practice of standardization creates an obstacle to individuality. Srinivasa Ramanujan was a self-educated mathematician with no formal training. He was a born genius. He had an individuality. However, he needed the support of an organized European academy to make the world accept his knowledge. An individual or genius needs the support of the organized, standardized professional academies. If he thinks of doing something meaningful for the world. These two ideas, individuality and standardization, appear to be contradictions. Are they complementarities? Individuality may be taught as a concept at school or college level, but is it possible to have an objective evaluation to ensure that the student has acquired individuality? These are my questions. Thank you.